Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on the Creative Phebe channel. I'm your host Phebe, and today we're making some chickpea and potato curry. If you're a fan of curries and you love chickpeas, you're definitely going to love this one. We're going to start off by preparing our own chickpeas. Yes, we're not using any canned chickpeas. If you know me by now, I love fresh because fresh is best. We're going to start off by sorting out these chickpeas to make sure there are no stones, no pebbles that will crack into our teeth. No, we don't want any of that here. So once we're done with that, we are going to wash it. We are going to put everything into a bowl like this and wash it with some water. We're going to rub the chickpeas in our hands to make sure we remove all the dirt of the chickpeas. And we're going to do this twice. That way we have clean chickpeas to start with. After that, we're going to drain it and put everything into the pot that we're going to soak it. We're going to cover the chickpeas with fresh water. That will be up to 2 to 3 inches above it. And then soak this for about an hour to 2 hours, or preferably overnight. Then after that, we're going to boil it for about 35 minutes. Halfway through the boiling process, we're going to salt the chickpeas and the water. The reason why you don't want to do this in the beginning is you'll harden the water, and the water will take a longer time to start boiling. So after salting it with about a teaspoon of kosher salt, allow it to continue boiling. We're going to cover the pot and let it do its thing. About 35 minutes in, which is about the time that the chickpeas will be done, we're going to taste them and just make sure that they're soft and tender and ready to be used. Now that those chickpeas are ready, we're going to set them aside and drain them. Now we're going to drain the chickpeas with a slotted spoon. You could also use a colander to do that, like I mentioned in one of my episodes where I listed the top 25 kitchen utensils that you need to level up your culinary game in 2022. And if you've not seen that video yet, I'm going to put it in the card onto your right above, and you can see that. Alright, now we're going to measure out these chickpeas. We need 570 grams of chickpeas to make the curry. And here I'm using a food scale, which grants me proper precision. And if you're wondering what we're going to use the rest of the chickpeas for, you can try one of my most popular uploads on YouTube, which is a paprika, shrimp, and chickpea stew. You would love it, yes. Alright, moving on, we are going to prepare these russet potatoes because we need potatoes to make this curry. So that's 590 grams of russet. We're going to peel them, and you can save the skins if you make some oven roasted potato skins, which is so delicious. If you'd like to see a video on that, let me know. After washing those potatoes, we are going to cut them into cubes. For that piece that has a little rot inside, we're going to just scoop it off. Just move ahead and chop those up into cubes as well. After this, we're going to boil these potatoes in a pot of water. We want to make sure the water covers the potatoes. That way everything boils at the same rate. We're going to boil these for 16 minutes. So put on your timer, that way they do not turn to mush. While the potatoes are cooking, we're going to prepare some onions, garlic, and ginger. That way everything is ready at about the same time we want to start putting together the curry. So this would be about 220 grams of small yellow onions. As you can see, curry takes some time to prepare because you want to make sure everything comes together well. Here we have 5 cloves of garlic. All we're going to do is smash it down gently on the chopping board to remove the skin. Here we have some ginger. Now ginger will add a really nice flavorful spice to the dish. All we're going to do is use a spoon to remove the skin. That way we can preserve the ginger. Well, midway while peeling the ginger, we got to check those potatoes before they turn too soft. They're ready. They're fork tender and they're ready to be drained, saved, put aside for the curry. So here we have them in a colander. All right, moving forward, we're going to finish peeling that ginger and make sure we wash everything before we start chopping those onions, garlic, and we'll grate the ginger in the pot. All right, I'm going to take this time to thank all of my recent subscribers. Really appreciate you doing that. And if you're not new here and you're watching this episode and you're excited to make some curry, hit that subscribe button. Yes, and turn on all notifications. That way you do not miss any of my upcoming tutorials. They are going to be amazing. Also, don't forget to comment and like this video. That way other culinary curious millennials get to see what we're cooking up in here. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. That would be at Creative Phebe, and you can see what I do during the week and what inspires my cooking journey. All right, let's get into this curry. That will be 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna add in those onions and garlic that we chopped up. Next, we're going to use a zester to grate the ginger. Sure, you can chop it like you did the onions and the garlic, but I prefer to do it this way. That way I can ensure that the juice of the ginger stays in the recipe because it adds such a beautiful flavor to the dish. We're going to use a spoon to make sure that we remove all of the ginger pieces that are still remaining on the zester. What's going to happen is you begin to smell the blending of these ingredients, and it's really enticing. So stir it up and allow it to saute for about 7 to 10 minutes. Now we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of curry powder. Make sure to use curry powder that is unseasoned. No salt and no heat added to it because that will really alter how much heat and how much salt you add to this dish. Now stir everything together and begin to notice the curry powder toasting. Add in those thyme sprigs to add another depth of flavor to this dish. Now we're going to season this with cayenne pepper and kosher salt. That will be 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Now you're going to stir all of this together and allow it to saute for about 10 minutes. But you got to watch it because you don't want this to burn. Once it burns, that's it. You just got to start over. But watch it as it cooks between medium to high heat. Now we're going to add in half a tablespoon of tomato paste. This will add a very nice rich color to this overall dish. Now we're going to stir it in. Next, we're going to add in some habanero peppers. Yes, 9 grams seems like a lot after adding in cayenne pepper, but if you want to cut it down, cut it in half. But I love me some heat, so we're going to put everything in there. Now we're going to add in some whole peeled tomatoes. Yes, these are canned because I do not use fresh tomatoes when they're out of season because I'm eating seasonally. So we're going to make sure we mash up that tomatoes in that sauce and bust that pepper because we're trying to release in heat into this dish. But you don't have to do that if you want to be careful about the heat level. Maybe you have kids eating this, or maybe you just don't like that much heat. All right, watch this saute, watch this turn into a nice rich color. And guess what we're gonna add? Some coconut milk. Of course, you guessed it right. I made some homemade coconut milk, and you can make yours just by clicking that right card onto the top right of this video. Now stir all of this in, make sure those tomatoes are also mashed, and allow this to come to a simmer whilst you start putting things away as this dish is coming together. We're going to add in 330 mils of water. We're going to bring this to a simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes. We're going to cover it and allow it to do its thing. Alright, after all of that simmering, we are going to add in those chickpeas that we had saved earlier, and that will be 570 grams of chickpeas. And yes, if you do not want to make your own homemade chickpeas, which I promise you will make a difference in this dish, you can use canned. But hey, you gotta try this one first. Alright, after adding those chickpeas, we're going to cover this pot and we're going to allow it to simmer for about 15 minutes. That would be medium to high heat, but more on the medium end. It also depends on the heat source that you'll be using. We're going to add in those potatoes. We're going to stir everything gently. And what we're going to do is allow this to also simmer for another 12 to 13 minutes. Now on low to medium heat, we're going to do this with the pot uncovered. What we're going to do is make sure that this liquid reduces. We're going to allow the chickpeas and the potatoes to soften up. That way they can also thicken the curry. So let this do its thing. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Now we're going to mash up some of those chickpeas and potatoes with the back of that wooden spoon to thicken this curry. And even as I'm sitting here doing this voiceover, I am so tempted because I know that I am going to be having some of this for lunch and I just cannot wait. And I just cannot wait to hear what you have to say about it. I would also like you to share it because I know you know someone who loves curry, and yes, they're going to love it too. Okay, now after these thyme sprigs have added so much flavor to this curry, we're going to remove them because we don't want to be hurting ourselves while enjoying our food, right? All right, now we're also going to taste our food. I love tasting our food to make sure everything is coming together well. Okay, so let's do that. And for me, I'm going to add in a nice sprinkle of salt. That way everything just ties well together. Then I'm going to stir it in. Alright, what is left is for us to sprinkle on our vocal slice before we serve up this delicious meal. Join me as I include the words on the screen. Lord, we thank you for the gift of a healthy and vibrant meal. May it be excellent for the building up of our bodies for your will. Amen. Alright, with some basmati rice, we're going to scoop some of that curry onto the plate. We're going to sprinkle on some fresh parsley sprigs that will really add a nice freshness to this dish. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, download my free cookbook. Find a link in the description section below. Y'all take care of your healthy selves. See you in my next episode. Goodbye.